That when you bring people together and they learn about each other's particular professions, it's very interesting, and you can imagine on a nice day in a nice warm comfortable room with good food and good company, you can feel that you're achieving a lot. When you've finished, however, some questions need to be asked. Do you, as a policeman, need to know the information you've learnt about a hospital or about how life works in your local authority? Do you need to know? Do you actually intend to use that information? And if you do, is it for your benefit or is it for the benefit of your organisation or the police force? What common purpose actually starts to do is to grey the boundaries between one particular profession and another. And if you take it a step further and you bring common purpose graduates in one place and they start to work at a level outside the boundaries and probity of their home organisation, then what you're actually doing is beginning to break down the whole structure of society. Imagine, for example, a policeman who is common purpose trained, sitting in a room with both the local council and members of companies who want money to further projects. And those meetings discuss subjects to do with the award of money, but the meetings are held under Chatham House rules. The Chatham House rule says that at any meeting you can divulge information, but you cannot say who said it, and you cannot admit the meeting at which it was said. So effectively, we would now have a police officer and council officers who should have a bound of probity to their profession and the public, giving away information in secret. If everybody was honest, we wouldn't have a problem. However, we know that people aren't all honest, and so what common purpose starts to do is to actually allow people to gain information and to pass it amongst their common purpose colleagues in a way which mimics the Freemasons. In this case, we know that common purpose is highly political in its intent because it is backed strongly by European banks, including the Deutsche Bank, and we know from common purpose's own material that it is highly pro-European Union. So we start to get an uneasy picture of an organisation working under the surface of society, bringing people together, educating them in a political way, and educating them about the benefits of the European Union. Common purpose is also very keen to talk to school children, and exactly the same thing applies. Common purpose will run courses in schools where it will talk about the wonders of the European Union, but at the same time it forgets about teaching children the values and the history of their own country. What this starts to do over a period of time is confuse people. They're no longer entirely comfortable with their own nationality, and they are being pushed towards a rather combined nationality, part of the supranational state with the European Union. Common purpose also attacks values. Common purpose says that diversity is to be celebrated and that we should have equal numbers of people on every board, on every committee, around every table of every organisation. Now, whilst this may appear to be reasonable on a casual glance, when you start to think about it, it is unfair, because there will be occasions when there will be a predominance of one type of person, and they may be there due to the fact that they work to be in that position. It's not a question of what colour they are, it's a question of what they have done to achieve the position in which they are. Common purpose doesn't want to follow these rules. It wants to set politically correct rules for who will be given positions of power. Common purpose is also very keen on saying that it is creating future leaders. And these are leaders who are going to lead in every sector of society. They are going to lead in politics, they are going to lead in civil society, they are going to lead in schools, education, the police, etc. The thing about these leaders is that they're not elected democratically. They are simply chosen by other common purpose people. And so what you are starting to create at one go is a little private elitist club. And indeed on other papers on the internet, if you do your research, you will find other people describing common purpose as an elitist organisation. If I draw you back to what's happening in society, many people are now saying that something is badly wrong in UK. They are saying things don't work anymore, whether it's the trains or the hospitals or the schools or what service you expect from your local council. There's an air that what we used to have that was good and well organised is becoming disorganised and fragmented. If we start to join up the pieces, what I believe from the research that I've done and from the research which is coming in from hundreds of people across UK, is that a number of organisations are actually pulling the UK apart. They are doing it with political correctness. That is not a joke, it's a form of cultural Marxism. It is designed to control how people think. We are starting to see organisations making strange decisions. And if we do our homework, we find that many of those organisations contain common purpose leaders. Could it be that those leaders are actually helping to break down society before we form the new so-called EU utopian state? All in all, UK is in a bad state at the moment. And many people are starting to point a finger to our politicians to say the problem rests with you. At the moment, we watch debates in Westminster on major issues such as immigration, where there are 13 members in the House. Where are our MPs? Where is the debate? Where is the open debate in front of the public? Why won't our MPs answer letters from the public asking them to take action? More and more people are describing that there appears to be a wall of silence from our politicians. And even the politicians that dare to speak out are hounded into silence. Some of them admit to being threatened. So we don't have a pretty picture. What do we need for all this to happen? We need one thing, we need money. And if we start to look at the monetary institutions in both the United Kingdom and in America and worldwide, we start to see some rather interesting things. We see increasingly vast financial empires charging millions upon millions of people outlandish interest on money which they have created. Money which is simply noughts created in computer systems for which you are then charged real interest and for which you have to work in order to repay. In UK we have the system where the government has deliberately engineered loans for students so that young people who should start their working life happy and free and now qualified from their studies at university are actually entering